What's length and what's width on that?
Yeah, I don't know why I turned this. Actually, my buddy turned this, and I thought the perspective. Yeah, so here the width would be this distance, and the height would be that distance right there.
So you move from square to rectangle.
What's that?
You move from square to rectangle.
Oh, on this one, yeah, this is square-ish. Yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry,
I
but
see it.
how did you define that? By where the shipping inputs and outputs go, or by, because on your graph, you can have width less than height, and you can have width greater than height.
That's
So I can't do it by which dimension is longer. There must be
Yeah.
another protocol.
Yeah, you could actually do these designs. I think I see where you're going there. I could actually make this thing really small this way and really big that way, right?
Right.
Yeah, those are terrible.
Yeah, I mean, those, you get almost no benefit at all from these kind of designs, though. Yeah, you could do, actually, we have in one of our papers, we addressed that question. What if it's deeper than it is wide, or that kind of question? Yeah, we do consider that. Not in this set of papers. Other questions?
I just want to make sure that I got the flying one, flying the first method, the flying.
Flying V, yes.
No, you made the graph.
Fishbone?
No,
Here?
The bound method.
Oh, the bound, yes.
The bound method. Is it like accessing the racks from the overhead, like X, Y?
It's simply, if I drew a straight line from the pickup and deposit point, a straight line to every location, and pretended I could walk right through the racks.
Theoretically.
Yeah.
But if I have an overhead and it's like if I have my my forklift upside down from
Yeah,
sitting
yeah.
in the truck, you can do that, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're an upside down forklift driver. Yeah, for
It's
sure.
overhead, like an overhead rope.
Yeah, if it can actually translate itself in that way, but that's actually pretty difficult, I think. I'm not an automation guy, strictly speaking.
It's like the
Mechanically, it's not
It's
that
like the
easy.
X-ray, when you go to the X-ray room, the X-ray can go everywhere in the
Yeah.
room, and it just drops from the ceiling and picks up the stuff.
That's usually Chevy travel, because the crane is moving one direction while it's going along another dimension.
You could also lift the racks.
Yeah, actually.
You could also lift all the racks and drive.
Yeah, I now have lost control of this. Yeah, actually, I showed this stuff to my architect friend. He said, the first question he asked was, well, can you drive under? Can we just lift it up and drive under the floor? I like the way you think, man. I had no idea that would be possible. It seems pretty hard, but yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, this is the chevron. Now this has what we call one inserted cross aisle here. I can still drive down here. That's one inserted cross aisle. Could I do better if I had two inserted cross aisles? And the answer is yes, asterisk, which I'll explain in a minute. So this is two cross aisles. We call this the leaf because it has that sort of organic, natural feel. That's what my architect friend said. So we named this the leaf in his honor. And so here I have a cross aisle here, and I've played with these angles a little bit, and there's some interesting attributes of these angles. It turns out I'm not going to get into that, but there's some interesting theoretical things you can see there. For some size warehouses, this is a better design. And then this we call the butterfly, because if you actually look at it at the top, it looks like a butterfly doing this. And this has three cross aisles, here, here, and here. Now, do you see why, for a warehouse this size, I might not want this as opposed to one of the other two? Okay, might confuse the operators. That's something to talk about for sure. What else?
It's a lot more space.
Yeah.
White space.
Yeah, actually, just look right here. Every time I jam another cross aisle in there, I have to sort of push things away. So as I'm inserting that more direct travel via these cross aisles, I'm actually having to move the locations in general further away from me, so there's this trade-off going on. And it turns out that you have, you can show with some curves that, now this is number of aisles of an equivalent traditional warehouse. So you can just imagine this thing getting bigger like this, okay? For a consistent aspect ratio. Okay, so it's just sort of, as the warehouse gets bigger, for a small warehouse of, say, less than 20 some, I can't remember what the actual break is, 27 or something, the chevron has a better improvement than the other two. Then the Leaf takes over, and it's better until warehouses at 65 items, but nobody has warehouses this big. And then larger than that, the Butterfly. And I'm sure at 742, the 4-aisle warehouse would be even better than the Butterfly. Okay, so basically what we concluded, well, let me show you one more plot here. And then here's where you can get into the discussion of the trade-off between that travel distance versus space consumed. Here's the percent increase in area over a traditional design as the warehouse gets larger. So the Chevron for a 19-aisle warehouse, it requires more than 10% more space than a traditional design does. You know, that hurts. But again, it depends on how much labor you're sinking into the place on a day-by-day basis. So you get into that fixed cost versus variable cost trade-off. Okay? The Leaf, huge, and Butterfly is ridiculous for, I mean, the required area. So really, even out here and you really wouldn't consider warehouses even anything bigger than this, I don't think. Maybe our industry gentlemen would have a different opinion. I can't even imagine warehouses, you know, where you're starting from one place going out this large. So here, the Chevron, you got about a 5% penalty in area, which seems like you could stomach that probably. But these, you got 10 and, you know, 12, 15. So we basically just said, you know, the Chevron, even for warehouses here, it's within 1% of the Leaf out here. So our conclusion was basically the Chevron is really the way to go for any realistic industrial application. If you meet these conditions or something close to them, the Chevron is kind of the one that you want to go with. And you can talk about all the trade-offs associated.
When you say one stop, you mean one loading and loading better?
That's right, yeah, and I'm going to show you an example of that right here. This is actually one of the 5, maybe 7 by now, implementations in the world that we know of. This is in Whitewater, Wisconsin. This is Generac. They make portable generators. It's a beautiful photograph, which I did not take, so I can call that beautiful. Notice some interesting things about this picture. And here are the diagonal aisles here you see. What just jumps right out at you? Yeah, that big pole, exactly. Notice the nice bumper there. That's been grazed a few times. And we talked about safety here. So this is a place where you can insert, talk a little bit about safety. You'll hear more about that tomorrow. This post here has actually been hit by a forklift driver. It was hit shortly after, because the operators, one of the unexpected things in these designs is, we talked to operators, how do you like it? This is the first one ever done, by the way. We traveled up there in the dead of winter and asked them, man, how do you like it? The workers said, oh, this is great, we really like it. You ever confused, you get disoriented? No, we never get disoriented. Well, why do you like it so much? And one of the gentlemen said, you know, I can take turns at full throttle. Because you're just going 45 degrees, right? He just thought that was great. That's a benefit we've never thought of. And that's actually why this has been skewered by, he came out of this aisle right back here. He didn't quite make the turn and stuck his fork right in the bottom. I have a photograph of this, by the way. And so, miraculously, he was not hurt. It pierced, went right through the building column, all the way through. And then they have welded plates around it and painted it red in his honor. So I have a picture of the red plates, which I'd be happy to send you if you want to tell the story.
So they never have to turn, though, the blind way on these, right? Because they're always going this way and coming back?
Yeah, so that's something else to talk about. Theoretically, all the flow's coming down here, and it does in this warehouse for reasons I can tell you about later. And they would never have to do this turn, which would be difficult. But they have to look this way as they're coming out, just like a regular drive. You need to make sure you can enter. And so that's a difficult turn. And so you could talk about safety, need for mirrors, all that stuff. Okay, I'm going to keep going here.
Kevin?
Yeah.
If you go back to the picture, on the right, left and right side, okay, we see there are no racks in the front.
That's right.
So is it really whatever, Chevron or something, or is it more like A?
Yeah, this one is kind of it's a mix. Over here is some pallet flow rack.
Okay.
So they did some different things in these regions. Some of the other, actually all the known applications of these techniques have some kind of just weird something. Nobody has taken, and you can expect this, every company's got their own business requirements and flow requirements. So the idea is just to get them thinking of, why can't we do it a different way? Why not travel in a straight line? Is it possible? What are the issues? That's what you want to get them to do. So here's how I teach this, by the way. This is about teaching. I actually give them a homework assignment. I say, okay, here's a grid. Go home, get some graph paper. I want you to store one. You got to start from right here, outside the grid. Store one thing. Give me the optimal solution. And they put it right here. And that's optimal. Then I say, store two things. And they put, oh, you got to be able to get to all directly. So they'll store one here and one here so they can go in and get to both of them. I'm sorry if you can't see behind. Then store three things optimally. That's here, here, and here. And then 4. And then I have them just keep going up to 25. And eventually what you see is they'll come in with real interesting aisle patterns. And then they get to talk about them and that kind of thing. It's a real, and there are, I can't prove any of them optimal in class, but you'll see some, they'll converge on something and then someone will raise his hand and say, I've got 18. I can do that in 18 consume squares. Anyway, you can have a lot of fun with that. So that's how I get the intuition across. And then to teach this at a graduate level, actually at either level, you could give them a case study. This we actually use in a tutorial. This is an actual AutoCAD drawing with the racks removed from a consultant that sent us a design. They said, we're about to recommend this to this company. Is this a good design? We got an email like that. It turned out it was a terrible design, but it's a great case study. So they have docks up here and here, shipping. They want to store stuff in here. And so what I do is I actually just pass out sheets like this in class, get them in groups of 4 or 5 and say, okay, you've got 30 minutes. Let's see what you can do in 30 minutes. And they get to talk about the issues and do the design case in real time. And then afterward, they get to come up and show